Okay, so I've been dreading this day when Secret World finally appeared on Josh Strife Hayes' is uh worst MMOs ever list. And this a live reaction, if you will, is kind of a foreign to me. I've never done one of these before. This is just my way of coping. So, yeah, because quite frankly, this is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah. Well, this just Secret World in general, because they're straight up. There are not enough games like this, and the investigation missions, the setting, all that shit. I even enjoyed the combat to an extent. So I guess let's see how this is, huh?
Is lying to you. The government has secrets they don't want you to know, like how the moon landings were actually filmed on a soundstage on Mars, how birds aren't real, or how they're putting chemicals in the water which are making the friggin' frogs listen to Ricky Martin. At least
Say it ain't so. Say it ain't fucking so, man. Ricky Martin? Come on, you could have chosen a worse artist than that. Who doesn't want to live La Vida Loca?
this is the general world feeling while playing the Secret World Legends, a modern-day MMO set within the three-way battle for global domination between the Illuminati, the Knights Templar, and the Cult of the Dragon, with all the factions teaming up to take down Lovecraftian-style monsters. It's an MMO about conspiracy theories,
Yes.
and it's got a fun few unique touches to it, like the
Yes.
investigation missions or
Oh,
the Hollow
God.
Earth transportation system, but unfortunately the actual build quality of the game itself, from the floaty and empty feeling combat to the sporadic intense lag, the
Yeah.
many movement glitches and more random crashes than you can shake a Freemason stick at, combined with incredibly
Now that, I seem to be about the only one of my friends that has never had that happen. I used to crash a lot for a good few of my friends when they did play, but I can't recall a single time that Secret World Legends has ever crashed on me, and I seem to be an outlier in that. It's just odd.
repetitive kill and fetch quests, the Secret World Legends is a great overall idea,
Yes.
poorly forced into a bland MMO model. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
And
I'm Josh Strife Hayes, and this
it
is
makes me
Worst
sad to
MMO
hear that,
Ever,
'cause
a
I know
series
it's
where
true,
play
but I
every
don't want it
MMO
to
game
be.
I can find in an attempt to find the worst. Drop a like on this video or sub to the channel for more MMO content. Ring the bell for all the future notifications. As usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on
Also,
Patreon
the
and
fucking
Twitch
main
who
theme.
keep the channel alive. More on how you can support at the end.
He's
For now,
literally
let's
never
begin.
gonna
Secret World Legends is on Steam. It's
do
free,
anything
so let's
different.
give it a go. First off,
Alright.
this isn't The Secret World from years ago. You
Yeah.
see, The Secret World was a dark, modern-day Lovecraftian-inspired conspiracy focus.
And I did own this. I don't like I bought this back in like 2012 when it launched, because I loved that kind of shit even back then. Like, I mean, growing up, like in Hunter the Reckoning on the GameCube, I loved the shit out of that. So I needed more stuff like that, and picked this game up. But I played it for like an hour or two. I had no idea what I was doing, and yeah, I have no idea how to access my old account at all. And so, can't really play it now because that's the only way you can even fucking download it.
Focused MMO. It had a monthly sub and a cash shop. But when it didn't do as well as they expected, they rebranded, revamped the combat system, changed the progression system, and made it free to play with optional monthly sub focused on solo play with the occasional team bit. This relaunch changed the name to Secret World Legends. And because the changes were so substantial, both these versions exist on different servers and your characters don't transfer over, so everyone had to start new when Legends happened.
Yeah, and in the original, the main thing that I missed was coming into Legends when I first started that, and I'm like, wait, I don't remember having to choose a class before, because in the original, you just got to build your class based off of 2 weapons, as opposed to choosing a class with 2 weapons, because the weapons, they're like 15 skills plus an ultimate, 15 active skills plus an ultimate, and 25 passive skills to each of the game's 9 weapons, and you were able to just choose, walk in, try them all out, and pick, 2 different weapons from any type. And They removed that in Legends, and I think that was probably a mistake.
While the original Secret World servers are still online, there's nowhere to actually easily download the game. They've basically let that version die. Now, Secret World Legends actively avoids describing itself as an MMO, instead calling itself a story-driven, shared world action RPG.
Which
and
is
I
true.
don't mind this description, because that's what Guild Wars 1 is, and I love Guild Wars 1. So if they're playing to the strengths of the genre...
I'm pretty sure the maximum number of players per instance for this game is like 8. And because they wanted to emphasize the atmosphere and the horror and all
such
that.
as build variety, story quest, and less grinding, I'll be happy. The main campaign is entirely possible to complete solo, but you can team up and take other players with you into instanced areas, so when you get to dungeons, you'll need a team. First off, the actual client is quite high quality. Little graphical flourishes here and there, sound effects when you move around, animated menus. This feels solid. Unfortunately, this is probably the most stable part of the gaming experience. First off, we need to choose a faction. Each has a video intro, and the voice acting in these videos is actually really good. So let's have a watch.
I mean, it's all about power.
The game has fucking powerhouses like Tara Strong, Steve Bloom, and the guy who played Tuvok from fucking...
Power is our currency.
Star Trek
Our DNA, our god. Blackmail, treason, deceit. These are our stock in trade. We work the magic of the drunken evenings with senators and chiefs of staff. We shake down demons and negotiate with sorcerers. We have stocks in hell and compromising photos of angels. We're the Illuminati, and we're not done.
You came to us in search of a purpose.
And actually watch these videos.
There is no purpose greater than ours. So our empire must be incorruptible, must be uncompromising.
Yes.
Our conflict must be a righteous one.
Yes.
Your conviction will be tested. But among us, your faith will be unshaken.
Amogus. I'm
the Templars.
legally obligated at this point.
카오스를 이론적으로 정의해볼까? 그건 1000개의 동전을 공중에 던지는 것과 같다. 드래곤은 누구일까? 우리는 동전의 어느 한쪽 면도 아니다. 그저 운명이 우리를 위해 움직이기를 바랄 뿐이다. 우리는 동전이 아니라 동전을 던지는.
You've got the information-obsessed Illuminati, the ancient and religious Templars, and the chaos-loving dragons. I'll go with the Illuminati because, as a successful YouTuber, I'm bound by my sacred oath to always support them. Character creation feels very The Sims. I'm already planning how I'm going to remove the ladder from the pool or try and set the baby on fire. Classes, you've got 9 to choose from, and all of them fit into the holy trinity of tank, healer, or damage dealer.
They're like that. The holy trinity
showing
is
how difficult they are to play.
on full display
tanks
in Secret World.
Fantasy MMOs are obvious. You're the one with the big shield. But tanks here use shotguns and hammers. Ah yes, the tactical defensive hammer. Game starts and we get an intro movie. We are lying asleep in bed while a clearly magical fly buzzes along and then crawls inside our mouth.
How dare you?
Light powers begin to manifest and then we become a human light bulb. We wake up in a nightmare and now we're in a graveyard. Movement is standard WASD, space to jump.
But I mean,
mouse wheel does not zoom in or out, doesn't seem to do anything actually. The first thing you'll notice is the lag, and I've got a decent PC and decent internet. The lag is the game's fault, as we'll see later. Press S to interact with the dream
because
architect.
the game is still loading files, so you can see it up next to the
zombie is trapped, and left click is primary fire. So I'm hoping that the shotgun from this range will be a bloody explosion of gore and viscera and ground, but no, it takes multiple shots and feels really light. We get to shooting some more zombies and oh no, combat is bad. I'm shooting a shotgun. Nothing is being knocked back. There's no impact sound. There's no animation or reaction for how powerful the shot or the impact is. It feels
the only concession with that is that they are anima bullets. They are not real bullets that you're firing. But with the sound of the shotgun, yeah, it should provide a lot more feedback than that.
gentle. There's no reaction to the shot. If I had to design how it would feel to fire a party popper at a sumo wrestler, this is exactly what I would want. Thankfully, the shotgun itself does have a really interesting reload mechanic, although it does border on slightly too complex at the start. You have 6 shells. Firing uses a shell. When you run out, all of your skills get replaced with shell icons. Using that skill means the next 6 shells you load in will now be that type of shell. And you've got flaming for damage over time, armor piercing, healing, or higher damage. But then you've also got shotgun energy, which is a separate thing, and if you fire too much, you need to take a break for a few seconds.
If you're not
your
using
shooting
basic
finger
attacks,
is getting tired.
you always,
Because you've
I
not
always
got
map.
enough shotgun.
Like the game has faster recharging energy for the primary weapon and the secondary weapon. It's slower recharging, and it's not explained a whole lot at first, I don't think. But I always map my basic attack to my left click so that I'm not wasting any energy whatsoever.
Energy in the middle of a fight feels odd when you can still see you've got shells in the gun, but they are 2 separate systems. When you run out of shells, pressing Q will automatically load in the same type of shells you were just using. Now, this isn't a terrible idea. It's a shame that the only way to change currently equipped shells is to exhaust all the shells in the weapon, and you can only do that while in combat because shooting outside of combat doesn't actually use up a shell. Also, the best shells are the ones that do more damage in every situation. Kill this Reaper dude and then get a text from the Illuminati which says, well done for killing so many zombies, because I'm a co-op-minded person. Because this is how texts work. Deeper into the dream we go. I have a slight concern. This design will do what a lot of opening sections do, which is be short, concise, and fun, and then never be relevant again. And while I'm worrying about that, the game crashes.
Honestly, okay, see, I've never had a fucking crash, let alone in the starting area. But everything that it lays out for you is perfectly relevant throughout. It teaches you each of the mission types. Investigation missions, you have to actually look around you, or outside of that, even real world clues. That's why I love these fucking investigation missions. They were written by a couple that actually does full on ARGs. The sabotage missions, it's about destroying something. Killing missions, extermination missions, whatever they're fucking called. Exterminatus.
And here we shall begin the counter. Secret World Legends is so badly optimized, it's like they don't want you to play the game, and we'll see how bad this gets later.
I threw up a crash counter when I played Atlas extensively.
We can't do combat. This is the only time in my 8-hour playthrough I ever had to
crashes in a single stream.
There's a tile puzzle on the floor, and pictures of a tile on the walls, so I walk on that tile, and yeah, I'm safe. So let's talk about puzzles. The original The Secret World made a big song and dance of its puzzles. They were complex and cryptic, and sometimes required real-world knowledge to solve, which is why there's a web browser in the game itself to Google for answers. We'll look at the issues with this later. The problem is puzzles are usually fun when they need to be solved, and with every MMO being data mined the moment it releases, the novelty of puzzles lasts until the wiki is made. For you to enjoy this system, you need to have the mental strength to not just Google the answers, which is difficult in an MMO as opposed to a single-player game, because everyone else is Googling the answers and advancing, and you're being left behind. This is the exact issue I discussed in my Have Guides Ruined MMO Games video, link in the description. Solve the puzzle and the game crashes again. That's 2. Next puzzle is 3 icons above a door and 6 buttons.
I just wonder how.
Order, open the door. And now
it really is poorly optimized for everyone's computer but mine.
This tunnel is full of mines, and then full of lasers, and then we need to turn off the electric current to this water. And now a very nice touch. This section teaches us to avoid enemies' line of sight.
Yes.
And to kill this hulking beast, we have to turn the electricity for this water back on, which is a mirror of what we did in the previous room. That's quite smart design. Then we check the enemy corpse and see the serial number 3691, and this is the exact number you need to open the door to outside, which is really clever if you don't think about it too much, because if you do, it makes no sense. We arrive in the city streets. The 3 main factions
it's a tutorial
are arguing
dream. I
over
don't
something,
question
probably
it.
who dresses up the coolest, and then a massive 20-story tall tentacled creature bursts out from underground,
Some of the outfits
and
in this
we
game are
run into
fucking
attack.
great, honestly.
What an awesome set piece.
Yes.
I really hope this battle goes on and has phases and has changes, and we can see the
I'm sure it does later.
weaker, and maybe the environment.
I will be open and upfront in that I've not reached the end game once in this game. In my over 200 hours on it, I've not reached the end game once because I keep trying to get friends into it. I play through the first whole area, and then they quit, and then I make a new character with another friend and repeat the process ad nauseum. I've spent more time in the first part of this game than on my main character. I did make it all the way to Transylvania, but I haven't seen the end game myself, and it is kind of sad to admit, because it is still one of my favorite games. I do still love it. It's hard to go back to solo, and it makes me sad. But again, this is all just me coping with the fact that I know this game is very mid, ultimately. I just desperately want more games like this. Action RPGs set in, well, a world of darkness, and mystery.
Gets involved, and oh no, it's a planned loss.
Yes.
So the awesome thing stops, the screen fades to black, we come back to our apartment, and then some random dude bursts in. He says we are
And this was always one of my favorite parts. The attention to detail in a lot of the things. Like, the NPC that shows up to talk to you, it is completely dependent on which faction you pick.
Super Special Magic Awesome, and we should join his Super Special Magic Awesome Club. He hands us a business card and walks off, so we go and hunt down the Super Special Magic Awesome Club. Now, in fantasy games, the villagers probably don't pay too much attention to the people walking around with swords, but in a modern game, it does feel a bit weird. You can just blast your confetti gun between these two chatting NPCs, and they don't really seem to mind. The actual city itself is lovely.
I mean,
the proportions are spot on.
To be fair, is that not just a normal day in New York? Am I crazy here? Man, forget about it.
The distance and the sight lines to the bridge are great. The road markings look accurate. The signs are all there. They have nailed the modern city look. This is an enjoyable place to walk around. Unfortunately, as we'll see for the rest of the game, the environments remain great. They're just held back by the gameplay. We head inside this laundromat and meet our conspiracy contact, an amalgamation of every conspiracy stereotype all rolled into one. Let's just enjoy his rantings.
No. Too much visibility on the street. They're listening. They're always listening. That's why I keep the dryers running 24/7. They bug my phones, read my mail. They have this place on CCTV. The Illuminati. I know you know. They know I know. You know? They've been conditioning us.
I love it. I love it so much.
Every kind of media for years, okay? Example? Pac-Man. That's how they see you. Just a little head. Just a mind share. And you run through the mazes they built, sucking down their pills.
He tells us he's being spied on by tiny, hidden cameras, and if we follow the cameras, we'll find the Illuminati's hideout. So we do that, and the camera is a massive security camera pointed directly at his desk. We daisy-chain our way through the city, following the direction of the cameras, which leads us into the sewer, and then we follow the graffiti of pointing hands, because if there's one thing secret societies love, it's marking their secret hideouts with very obvious signs. Environmental
I actually can't tell you that.
design and ambience is again great. There is nothing wrong with how the game looks or feels or sounds. It's fun to explore. The problems are in the build stability and the impact of combat. I have a quick play around with the UI, find the in-game web browser. I'll read up on that later. And here's the 12-month sub bundle, complete with cool sheets and legally distinct segue. Interesting, you can't actually buy this yet. You need to complete the opening section before the shop is open to you. I respect that. It's a brave move to force the player to experience your buggy, crash-heavy, surviving on life support game before asking them for money, but I respect that you did it. 30 days of VIP will cost you $9.99. You'll get experience boosts and extra keys for the dungeons and raids, so it's a limited dungeon or raiding system unless you pay for more. Okay. Eventually, we find the Illuminati headquarters. We run in, get knocked out and dragged off to some crazy doctor and then experimented upon. Again, the writers have tried to cram every conspiracy theory they can into every bit of dialogue. None of them actually matter for the gameplay or the puzzle elements. It's not mechanical, it's just referential. It's an endless march of, hey, have you heard about? And then just the Wikipedia list of conspiracies. The scientist tells us we are super special magic awesome, and he's going to unlock our powers by putting us into a dream state. A sort of, as the game actually describes it, role-play game. So we wake up in the body of some lady trapped in the Tokyo subway. It's a meeting of the important Illuminati and Templar people, and whoever made the design decision to put white text with no edging directly on the top UI layer with no block color behind it so it blends into the game environment needs to take a serious look at their graphics.
Personally, I've never had a huge fucking issue with it because I've been able to read it, but having it actually pointed out, yeah, no, I could see that being a problem for some people with less gifted eyes. I'm just kidding. My astigmatism's getting fucking out of hand.
Graphic design decisions. This is awful to try and read. We're told how to buy abilities and taken step by step through that process mobile game style. We're now told that rage builds when we attack or are attacked, and we can now swing the hammer with more power. So we fight our way through the subway with an AI team, and the hammer feels even less impactful than the shotgun. Combat is also extremely inconsistent. You can fire the shotgun whenever you want, but the range is limited, and your spread hitbox doesn't seem to match
the
up
dual,
with the
I
spread
think
graphic.
I pretty much always drift towards the dual pistols, the assault rifle, blood magic, and yeah, that's actually about it. That's actually about it. What the fuck? I mean, I've obviously played with every single weapon, but I definitely have my favorites. And I think the shotgun and hammer are less fun because it's all, you know, not super impactful.
But you can only swing your melee weapon when you're close enough to an enemy and locked on. The swing animation only happens when you are guaranteed to hit.
Yeah, see, now this is one thing that I always... It's difficult to explain. I call it, you know, like action tab combat or semi-tab combat, because you do still have to be targeting them and facing them. But, you know, it still feels somewhat action combat-like. I was actually surprised he was able to just fire his gun willy-nilly, because I don't think you're able to do that otherwise. That was interesting. Yeah.
Not when you press the button. So you can be spam clicking and doing nothing, and then you'll randomly swing once an enemy runs in front of you. There's a real disconnect between clicking to attack and actually seeing
like
your character
if they rebooted this fucking game with updated graphics, they can keep the voice acting and the sound, because frankly, it's all good. All of the fucking sound in this game is great. The main theme, the voice acting, all that shit. Très magnifique. I fucking hate French, but I'll say that. If they rebooted it with updated graphics and a full action combat system, this would probably... Like, it's already one of my favorites, but this one would be a super fucking easy recommendation to literally anybody. Just release it even as just a co-op RPG. Don't do single player. Please, for the love of God, don't do single player. I love co-op so much. So yeah, anyway.
Do something. Buying passive skills makes the shotgun better. There's a lot of passive skills. Not sure how buying upgrades works while I'm technically in a dream of someone else, but the plot does take a bit of a downward turn from here. Fight a mini-boss, they drop a healing item.
Don't tell
we can
me
equip
that,
it and use it with C. There's a 30-second cooldown. I like this mechanic of having a rechargeable healing item. It means you can rely on others for dangerous fights, but yourself in any solo adventures. Take on a boss, and look, the problem with dream levels is, while I can appreciate the mechanics of the game, I don't have any emotional attachment to this event. It's already happened. Yeah. It wasn't me involved. My actions here won't change anything. Nothing
I guess
needs
that's kind
this
of
to be me. It's the and then they woke up and it was all a dream ending. But
I
don't know. It's going
I don't
to
have
end
a
that
real
way.
issue with it, but I can
This
see
is a real
that
narrative risk
being
this early in a game. You're taking
kind
the
of a problem for some
player.
people. Like, it is, especially since it is a story-driven MMO. I just kind of don't think about the tutorial much, I guess, at this point. Or all the intro shit. Like, I will never fucking want to... Like, I appreciate that this one, at least... like, there are a lot of characters that when they interact with you, they treat you like you're not the chosen one. You are one of the chosen. Like, you know, I don't want to spoil anything too much, but the first antagonist, the first zone's antagonist, yeah, he's, you know, I know how it is with you bees. It's like, you know, acknowledges that it's more than one, as opposed to games like Final Fantasy 14, where it's you are the most chosen of all chosen ones, and everyone else is background characters or side characters in your story. That is, in my opinion, objectively bad story design. Objectively bad story design in an MMO. It just, that completely breaks any and all immersion. So compared to between the two, this is still far more immersive to me. And yeah, I'm speaking with a bit of a bias because I don't like Final Fantasy and I love this game, even though I know like Final Fantasy 14 mechanically is better. Story-wise, this is still way more immersive than you're the chosen one and everyone else is a side character.
Hasn't had time to connect with, and placing them into another character the player is also not connected with. It's two steps of dissonance. You're making the player experience an event they don't have context for through the eyes of a character they have not related to. We kill the boss and then we're in space, because why not? And then the game crashes. That's 3. And now we're shown how to sprint.
I've never experienced a crash at any of the points that he's had a crash.
Turning on sprint mode has a timer, a little blue bar to the bottom left. Pressing X turns on sprint, but you need to wait for it to activate.
Yeah, the sprinting is
you move very slightly faster. Why do you need a charge-up time to sprint? Just start sprinting.
Yeah.
I think this highlights one of my main issues with Secret World Legends. There's delays on everything. You attack a little bit after you click. You dodge a split second after you press dodge.
Yes.
You need to charge up your sprint.
Yeah,
and wait
like
to
that
start
actually,
your
I do
reload
agree.
shows up on the UI before it's actually usable. When you load into a new area, your mouse and keyboard don't respond for a few seconds while the area prepares. There are so many small moments of delayed input recognition. They all add up, and they make the game as a whole feel that it's lagging behind you as a player. I say hello to the general chat. There are no replies. Steam tells me there are 44 people online. That's actually more than I expected. Those 44 must be some hardcore players, because there is no way someone new is downloading this game, crashing 3 times, and not uninstalling.
See, that's the thing. I don't know. Director de la Guardia. Guardia. Anyway, I don't know. I don't see these crashes. Like, yeah, new player, absolutely. It would drive away new players if they experience it, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know what. I know running it on the most was it direct? They have like DirectX 9 and DirectX 11. I'm able to run it on DirectX 11, no problem whatsoever. This game does not crash for me, but DirectX 9 is good for people that do have a lot of crashes. It seems, because that's helped one of my friends in the past. But it's just so odd to me to see 3 crashes by this point, because I'm so used to it just not. I don't know. It's weird. It's unfortunate. And I'm not about to sit here and gaslight Josh Strife Hayes, especially when he has this shit. But it's like, I just taken aback because I've never experienced that in any of my playtime with this game.
Pop into this test chamber, get given a cell phone, and shown the text message icon will pop up whenever our Illuminati handler wants to talk to us, and now we get the upgrading weapons tutorial. The inventory and upgrade UI is very clean, if slightly soulless. You place a weapon you want to upgrade into the box, then throw a load of crap weapons in as fodder, and they get destroyed to make the chosen one better. There's also some stats and numbers and stuff, but you don't really need to pay too much attention to this in the start. And now we're sent to meet our primary contact, and this scene is filled with so much cringe I almost imploded. This is what an out-of-touch writer thinks a cool, hip-hopping, happening, crazy cat would talk like. I had to endure this scene, so you do too.
I fucking love old school hip-hop.
It was 2012, and yes, it was even cringe then.
Don't you? Projecting indecision is a big no-no. Always smile. But this isn't another test. We don't do probation. You're either in or you're out. The Illuminati are very achievement-focused. It's like Xbox, only everything is hardcore. The ethic I really want to instill in you is to aim high and achieve even higher. It's not just in your best interest, it reflects in you
It's
too,
even
that is
worse
super
than I
important.
remember.
Make me look bad, I'll mount your head on my wall as an object lesson to the next fuck-up. God, it is so cute when you new guys think I'm kidding. Solomon Island.
Yes, of course, a high-ranking Illuminati commander is just a young laissez-faire, chilled-out, hip-hop-loving rascal who's got no time for your silence and needs you to know they're sassy. I should have joined the Templars. Now here's a real conspiracy. I've had the
Yes.
pop-up notification to tell me the program has crashed again, but if I ignore it, the game seems to carry on working. Sort of like a Schrodinger's crash. I'm going to deal with this the same way I deal with most problems in life. I'm going to ignore it and hope it kind of fixes itself.
Yeah.
We're sent to the garage to find the entrance to the Agartha, an underground travel network linked to a giant tree.
I mean, it says Agartha a bunch, and it's spelled Agartha. I can't say I've ever heard anyone pronounce it Agartha? Agartha? I don't know what he said. But it wasn't right. But, you know, if he's not having a good time, I guess he can't be bothered to care about that, which is fine.
So we pop on inside and hey look, it's the conductor from the Polar Express.
Yeah.
This is your central travel network. Secret World Legends is a hub-based RPG and this is the hub, the Hollow Earth Conspiracy combined with the Giant World Tree Conspiracy. The tree
Yes.
branches have portals on which will whisk you away to different occult places. With this being the main hub, I'm hoping I'll find some other players, but what I actually find is crash number 4. Side note, while I boot
Literally,
up the game again, the YouTube channel Accursed Farms has the fantastic Game Dungeon series where Ross plays through old games and critiques them in depth. He has a full video on The Secret World, and I'd highly recommend you go and give it a watch. There is a link in the description. He is probably one of the best long-form content creators on YouTube. Right, we're back into the game in the
Man, I
World
forgot he
Tree,
played this
and
game. I can't remember the last thing I
crashes.
watched from Ross's Game Dungeon.
30 seconds. The game lasted 30 seconds before a crash.
I
in a more
literally
demanding
do
area.
not get
There were
these
3
crashes.
players
I don't
around
know
me,
where
and
they're
it
coming
couldn't handle
from.
that.
I'm wondering if this is due to the game still downloading files. Because it is some... Ow. It is something that I noticed the last time I re-downloaded it, that it just... It takes a long time to download all those extra files, and you can change your network bandwidth limit in the game to get all of it downloaded a lot quicker. But it did cause a lot of stuttering. I never had crashes when it happened, though. So, again, this is just baffling to me. How he's had so many. And it's like, if that helps explain a lot as to, I mean, aside from the game being very mid, objectively, it would explain a lot why we can't get new players in it.
That's 5. So, graphics on low, try again. Also, watch this. Is it me, or is there a window pop-up which instantly closes? I don't know what that was. We're sent to investigate Kingsmouth because stuff is getting a little too culty for them. Anyone familiar with H.P. Lovecraft's work will recognise the name as a play on Innsmouth, and just like Innsmouth, there are shadows over this sleepy little fishing village. The first character we meet is a cowboy, because the writers paid a lot of money for the big book of cliches, and my god, they are going to use every last one of them.
Oh, don't worry, kid. You haven't gone back in time. I just happen to be the last of the cowboys. Got your southern welcome right here. Mesquite beans, Texas style. Good ought to face evil on a full stomach. Name's Boone. I'm a troubleshooter. You and I need to have a powwow before you go shooting for trouble.
Yes.
Illuminati may have legacy on Solomon Island, but you folks gave that up for the high life and the low road. Sure,
Yes.
you can be divided in purpose, but we gotta stand united against darkness. This ain't my...
This is also confusing to me. Especially in my last few playthroughs of the area, I've noticed that, or in my last several characters, that the eyes have had weird graphical bugs. Well, eyelids, I guess, specifically. So, this is also interesting to me. That his eyelids
first rodeo. I know we're gonna need
look
all
fine.
the unity we can get.
Maybe having graphical bugs leads to no crashes. There we go. It's a solid explanation, the only explanation.
Don't mean to say you stepped into hell, but when the wind blows west, You can just about smell the brimstone.
So we're off to kill some zombies. Combat
Pretty
is
sure
still
you just
floating,
farted,
and despite
but-
having different types of zombies, every encounter plays out exactly the same. Walk
Yes.
backwards and shoot the shotgun. A few nice environmental touches though. First we jump on a car to set off the alarm to attract the zombies, then we set
Yes.
fire to a petrol can to burn the zombies in. I am always a big fan of scenery being mechanically relevant.
Yes.
Then an elite enemy appears and uses the most overpowered attack in the game. The crash. That's 6. Maybe it's a
6
DirectX
fucking
11
crashes
issue.
at
I'll
this
drop
point.
it down to DirectX 9
I
and see if
just-
it helps. You'd think if that was the case, they'd fix the DirectX 11 issue, or
Yeah.
they'd have the game use
No, they
DirectX
don't
9
care
as
enough.
standard. When a game company shows more interest in
Funcom
milking
cares
their currently
about
enfranchised
their
players
Anarchy
than they do
Online,
making the
kinda,
experience
and,
playable for
like,
new players, I think you
precious
know they've
little
given up
else
trying to
that I
get
could
new
think
players.
of,
Quick
but
question.
Secret World, it's not really on their radar anymore, and it makes me sad because it is a genuinely worthwhile game for them to work on. I could picture a lot of people. I know a lot of people would enjoy this if it weren't what it is. You know?
Question. The map in the starting city in the tutorial was a functional 2-scale map and matched the style of city. Why is the map of Kingsmouth all cartoony? So I do some googling and it seems every area has a map in the graphical style of that area. It matches the aesthetic, the kind you'd find in a tourist shop. I quite like this touch. It helps give each location a personality. Meet the local sheriff. She talks a lot for someone who says, I can't talk because there's more important things to do. We finish a quest and get another text, but this one
I skip
comes
all
with
of her
an assault
dialogue at this
rifle,
point, so I
which we
actually
can't
forgot
use.
how much.
Next quest, find surveillance cameras and set
You
them up
use
to
that
monitor
to
the local
upgrade
zombies.
your
This means
fucking
we need
current
to look through a
weapons.
phone book to find businesses which might have surveillance cameras and then go and steal them. I like this. It's research and prep, which makes sense for what you're doing. Oh, that pop-up has happened again. Right, it's an advert for the monthly patron thing. I find a flyer on this phone booth advertising local businesses and wholly references Batman, H.P. Lovecraft, Belmont Avenue, 1914, Paradise Lost, Arkham. They are all there. While grabbing the security cameras from around town, I'd like to point out why we can't have a horror MMO. A lot of people have said they love a super scary MMO.
Okay, horror and scary are two different things, and I will die on that hill. I love a horror-themed MMO like this. That is fucking great. I love the atmosphere. It's not scary. It can't be scary. It just doesn't work. Unless it's, you know, it just, horror and scary are two separate things. Well, they're not completely separate. There's like a little bit of mixing here. Ah, God, what the fuck is wrong with me? Few intertwining aspects, and you'd think horror would be scary, but horror is atmosphere. Scary is scary. I actually don't know how else to describe that at all. Like, I just finished watching Archive 81. I fucking love it. It's a horror, psychological horror for a while, but it's a horror show. It is not scary. It's an atmosphere, and you just get sucked into it. It's not scary. I love horror. Scary, I don't really care if it's scary or not. I mean, my first job was a clown in a haunted house. I could do scary. That shit. Oh, that was fun. But that's another time. But me having literally been a professional clown at one point, a horror clown, you could see why my opinions are kind of honk honk clown world.
Fear comes from the unknown, or the feeling of isolation, or overwhelming odds stacked against you, combined with the idea that failure has a bad consequence. But in an MMO game, you've got guides and known factors. You've got global chat. You respawn instantly, and you're often working with a group of players. It's very hard to be scared of zombies when you've got a fire-breathing shotgun and some guy in global chat saying, hey, I'm popping to the shop, does anyone want anything? And you have to fight the overwhelming urge to say cornetto. My main problem with the game so far is it's fine on the surface, but why would you want to log back in? the faction you've joined seems irrelevant. The graveyard dream seems forgotten. The fly into the mouth seems gone. The magical light powers, all but forgotten and replaced with the power of shotgun. The game has crashed more than it should do, and the first actual quest line in a game which prides itself on being conspiracy focused is go and kill some zombies. One of the business's cameras is broken. There's a note on it from maintenance saying there's a box of new cameras in the basement, so we pop on down. The basement is filled with traps. If you stay in the vision of a security camera for too long, it activates a bomb and you die. Instant death stealth trap sections. Fantastic.
Yes.
This is just bad Metal Gear
just
Solid
don't
combined
die.
with bad Bloodborne. Grab the creative cameras and run all the way back. Here's a nice touch. We have to use the police station PC, and when we do, we get a window showing the PC screen, and we have to actually type 1 or 2 and use the PC to get the information we need. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the mission list with the current steps of the quest line we are on and the objective of that step. So quests are storylines, and each part of the storyline needs you to either go somewhere, find something, kill someone, or solve a puzzle. And the current step is shown on your map, so navigation is quite easy. This bit is a wave defense at the barricade. Kill 3 waves, move on to another barricade, repeat 3 times. Then we find a mini-boss and it dies almost instantly. You'll also see this is step 2 out of
that generally
the current storyline, so we have a hell of a lot of Collect X left to go on this map. Chat to Norma, a stereotypical southern lady with a shotgun, kind as anything but no fucks.
I know from the UK she's very Bostonian. Well, at least in how she talks. If I remember correctly.
Left to give. She needs us to defend her house by fighting off 4 waves of zombies from 4 fences.
Daniel Boone being a cowboy is kind of way out of place when you're in the,
we need to go and kill 4 dry zombies,
Atlantic
4 wet
northeastern
zombies, 4
part
slow
of the
zombies,
United
and
States.
4 fast zombies, with each type being found in one of 4
But
locations
Stephen
around the town.
Blum,
right,
whatever.
This is filler. You know this is filler. You avoid calling yourself an MMO, but then you use the exact things MMOs are disliked for. Why would you make such an effort to move away from the descriptor of MMO toward story-driven RPG, but then add in the worst elements of MMO design?
It's simple. They didn't think about it.
This is exactly the type of stuff you don't need to do anymore. Combat isn't fun or interesting enough to carry this. Killing 12 zombies isn't great if killing 1 zombie isn't great. I have a shotgun and a giant hammer. I should be thrilled to be attacked and get to defend
this game 100% needs a reboot with action combat. 100%. That alone would probably carry the game. Good action combat. I mean, that's kind of all that carries New World, even though the action combat's kind of I don't know.
Myself, but no, the zombies feel like an irritating distraction, not a part of the threat. So while I'm doing this repetitive content, let's have a read of some reviews. Crash Simulator. Literally unplayable. It says I have 2 hours of playtime, but about 75% of that was spent crashing, googling for potential fixes, trying to log back in, and then crashing again. Edit. Running the client in Windows 7 compatibility fixes the crashes. The setting mood, especially the voice acting and the lore, is so good. Combat mechanics are a distraction from the great package of world building, setting, and voice acting. I have a decent computer,
I've just been way too high on the copium for ages.
The universe and the mechanics are interesting, but playing alone might give you a could-have-been-better experience. Love this game, and its post-modern occult atmosphere is quite brilliant. Still need...
There are just not enough games that deal with the occult in the modern day. I need more. I need more.
To explore before I can deliver a...
It's like my favorite kind of fucking setting.
Never download this game. The name of the game should be changed to Crash Game. It starts to crash when you want to
there
create
already
a
is a Crash game. I actually own Crash Game 3.
The system and pray the game is closed. In the tutorial, you may not see the HUD, and there are many problems at the beginning of the game. While the combat is fairly simplistic, you can master every weapon and fill in any role to fit your playstyle. PvE is easy enough, though where the game shines is in the actual questing and story. Interesting quest mechanics ranging from having to look things up online, custom websites, and riddles to classic slay the monster with stealth, and more filling it out. Plus, some of the most unique looks I have seen for gear. I highly recommend giving this a solid try, if at least for the first full zone. I completely agree and understand the general feeling of could be better.
This game 100% could have been better. The reason I love it so much is because of the setting and the questing and all that. I adore the investigation missions. They are so wonderfully fucking written. And like on my first go around with some of them, I was genuinely fucking stumped. But no, it's like they run actual websites for the in-game quests that you could just go to even outside of the game, and it's fucking nuts, full on ARG stuff, and that, oh god, we need more games that do that shit in general. We need more modern day occult themed games, and we need more games that tie in ARG elements. It is really that simple. We need more of that. Get on it, developers. Because God knows I can't. I don't have the patience. I want to get into game development, but my God. I have huge design documents, but I can't. I just can't. It's so much time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Except for people who dedicate to it. Anyway.
A really good cosmic horror game here, which is actually held back by trying to be an MMO. If you reduce the number of enemies but increase their power substantially, a single zombie becomes a challenge. If you reduced the collect X or kill X quests to go and do something substantial to move the plot forward, you'd have a more direct story. The zone itself is lovely. The story is fine, if somewhat derivative of earlier horror works. The only problem is the online game aspect seems to be actively harming what this game could really be. The worst part of this Lovecraftian investigation-based conspiracy MMO is the fact that it's an MMO. I've gone on at length about the importance of your opening section in any game.
But I absolutely refuse to have it be exclusively single player. If it goes exclusively single player, I'm just not gonna fucking play it. If it drops the MMO, that's fine. I just want there to be co-op. I love co-op games. Single player games, for the most part, it's hard for me to stay invested because it's just me in a world. You throw me alone in a sandbox, I could dig through the sand a bit, and then I'll get bored. Throw me in a sandbox with someone else. The shit that we could create is a lot bigger.
Won't get to your 100-hour in amazing dungeon if they don't have a great time for the first 5 hours. Secret World Legends advertises itself as a conspiracy, puzzle, occult, modern RPG, and what you get is a crash-heavy zombie killer with no context as to who we are or why this is happening. On the quest list, I see a pause quest option. I assume this means remove this quest from my heads-up display, so I pause it. But when I unpause it, oh, I see. It actually means remove all progress I've made from this step. Fantastic. I'd killed 4 types of 4 zombie, but now I need to go and do it all over again because pause doesn't mean pause. Investigate some files, kill 8 cultists, then get shouted at that I'm leaving the mission area. I have 10 seconds to return. It doesn't mean the main quest mission. It means this randomly happening mission that I've stumbled into. But the warning doesn't mention which mission. Whenever you do stumble into a random mission, you'll hear a computer voice tell you,
additional assignment received. Initializing.
I'm
not sure where I'm hearing that from. The game made such a show of giving me a phone because it's a mechanic and it wanted to have a realistic explanation of how it happens, but now we can just hear magical Illuminati lady whenever she decides, oh, there's more stuff to kill. Like
immersion
4 fires on
breaking
the
on
beach
that,
to complete
fair,
a
I guess.
ritual and summon a big boss. What do you think it will look like? How will I defeat it? It looks like a regular cultist model, but bigger, and I defeat it with the ancient and powerful art of shotgun.
I mean, what isn't fun to kill with a shotgun?
Investigate the boat, the Lady Margaret. At least the game hasn't crashed in a while. Silver lining and all that. On the boat, find the captain. They've been very slightly zombified, so we fix this with liberal application of gun to the face, and they drop a note saying Dr. Bannerman knows more.
Yes.
I like how in the note, the important bit, Dr. Bannerman, is slightly sharper. It draws your eye to it. Good graphic design. Talk to the good doctor about the boat, and nothing happens.
It's like they have all this attention to detail in everything but the gameplay. It's weird, but I still love this game. Can't take it away from me, man.
Quest doesn't update. He gives me no leads, no info. The journal tells me talk to the doctor until I get more info. But when I interact with him, the option to discuss the Lady Margaret boat is grayed out.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can click. There's an item on the desk, but that's for a side quest. Why can't I progress? What am I meant to do here? Hang on. Maybe this is one of the puzzles. Maybe the game won't just give me everything. Maybe it's given me everything I need already. I need to think. Hang on. The flyer on the phone booth from earlier. That shows me the address of Dr. Bannerman's clinic, 9 Belmont Avenue. And hang on, the tourist map I have shows street names. Oh, it's all coming together now.
Elm
the good
Street,
doctor knows something but
Lovecraft
won't tell me.
Lane.
So I need to break into the
If you ever name a street Lovecraft Lane, you deserve to have a curse befall your fucking town. Ah, it's bad. He hasn't spent any of his points on new skills. Or maybe he has. Oh no, never mind. He's saving up he's saving up to 15 at AP, and I don't know what he's saving the SP for, but yeah. My bad. Sorry, Josh.
clinic and find the notes. Okay, I am on board with this. This is a great bit of design. Needing the player to think just enough to add the pieces together of the
It's not going to
clues
work.
they've
I don't know
already
why
been given.
the
This
Dr.
is a
Bannerman
well-designed puzzle.
isn't-
So I arrive at the clinic and it's locked.
Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. Maybe there's a skylight. I find a ladder around the back and I glitch onto it. I can't climb up or down. I'm stuck. Okay, not a problem. I wiggle around a bit until I make it to the roof and there's no skylight. Okay, now I'm stumped. I was actually quite sure that I'd figured something out. So finally,
Yeah, I don't know
go in
what
and
the
I
hell.
check a guide
It's bugged on
Wow.
for him.
You are meant to go to the clinic, but you can only go in once the doctor has mentioned it. And my game glitched, so the original conversation didn't end correctly, and they didn't mention it. So I restart, talk to them again, and oh, now the clinic is highlighted. Well, I guess that'll teach me to try and think outside the box. Don't use the clues given to you. Don't do your own research inside a level set to a classic research-heavy story. Don't read notes or maps. Don't explore or try to be clever. Just follow the glowing arrows. Inside the clinic, we find a CD on the floor, Vivaldi's Four Seasons.
Yes.
Then a smashed picture frame of some fireworks with the words set to the Four Seasons. And
Yes.
then a note saying, I bought you that new Vivaldi CD. Then we log on to the clinic PC, and it's password protected. The hint is my favourite composer. Maybe it's Vivaldi.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, and now we're in. Now, that puzzle
See,
makes
this
you-
one is kind of baby's first investigation mission. This one gives you hand feeds you a lot of shit, but some of the ones, even just in this first zone, still have you thinking a little more outside the box. This one, the ones that are required to progress the story, they made as easy as they could to make it so you still feel a little bit of accomplishment. But you're at the end of the day, you're just like a clapping 4-year-old because you found out where your like sister was hiding or some shit. But no, like some of the other ones that you've come across, well, a lot of this. Anyway, some of the other ones that you come across, they stumped me for a bit. Probably because I'm part dumb, but also they are well designed. I genuinely love the investigation missions, particularly outside of the main story, because that's where all the more advanced ones are.
I'm a little heavy-handed, having 4 references to Vivaldi, but originally you only had the picture and the hint, and you were expected to use the in-game web browser to research who composed the Four Seasons. But they had to add more in-game clues because that web browser doesn't work anymore. And even when it did work, it was terrible. It wouldn't save whatever page you were on last and had very, very little security, and none of the bells and whistles of any other browser. I can see
haven't
the
tried the
novelty,
browser in a
but
while.
this just wasn't practical. And now it's not working. One of your main novel ideas and draws to your game, the thing that
I
makes
didn't
it
realize the
stand
browser
out,
stopped working.
isn't updated. That is a major sign of a dying game. The clinic records go on to speak of Derek and Lawrence. I need to go and find them, but honestly, I'm bored. Not of the story, that's actually quite good. I'm bored of the gameplay, the zombies slowing down progression, the boss fights being the same, the dialogue being ridden with cliches. I want to experience where this goes, but I don't want to go there the way the game presents itself. Secret World Legends mixes genres a little too much. It's an RPG, but it's also an alternate reality puzzle-based game, but it's an online co-op shooter, but it's also an MMO, but not really. It has started so many disconnected story threads that I've actually stopped really caring about any of them. Who am I? What was the Fly? What did the Illuminati want with me? Who was the Doctor? What was the RPG dream? Why are there so many cultists? It's story overlap, and I feel that I don't know
that is fair. It's not something I really think about much.
Be relevant, but the gameplay experience of following the stories is subpar. I can see why
Yeah.
you'd be interested in this game. The setting is cool. The idea of exploring conspiracies or occult references is neat. It's
Yes!
unique in the MMO
Please
setting.
give us
The modern
more!
day is something we don't see much in the online RPG space.
Yes.
But all that is just surface level set dressing. It's the icing on the cake. But the cake itself, the gameplay, the terrible program stability, the lack of combat variations, sporadic lag on interactions and movement, the floaty, gentle, generic feeling of every encounter, it's just not good. The mechanics of this game do not do the environments
right.
and the overall design of
He's
the
right.
game
I don't
justice.
want him to be,
So,
but it is
to end the
true.
review, I will award Secret World Legend.
You cheeky bastard. Yeah, no. A lot of his points were spot on. Some of them are things I just didn't really even think about or want to think about, I guess. Because everything, I already understand how the game operates and all that, so seeing it from a fresher perspective, you know, without anyone to back him up or anything like that, yeah, it's a little sad. A little sad. We need a reboot with full action combat so that, you know, we can make the world great again. But no, genuinely. The core of it, the story and the setting and the missions are some of the best in all MMOs. That's it. Full stop. I will die on that hill. But mechanically, yes. It is archaic and rough. But I'd still rather play it than Final Fantasy XIV. Ha!